Yeah, I think we're good.
Okay. Hello, I am Matt,
And I am Ben.
and we are the O'Daddy Factor.
This is our first video, and today we're reviewing
Wildlife by Lotus Butte. As suggested or asked for by it's certaintragedy.tumblr.com. So,
Here It Goes.
yep, Ben, start us off.
Okay, so Lotus Butte, a band that is either loved or hated.
Pretty much. Post-hardcore from Grand Rapids, Michigan. If you're listening, watching this review, odds are by now you've heard of this band. Getting a lot of hype lately. Just finished up a tour with Thrice and Moving Mountains. Wouldn't be surprised if we saw them on the Vans Warped Tour this year. I see it coming, dude.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, love them or hate them.
Yeah, the common complaint I hear about this band, especially with their previous record,
Somewhere at the bottom of the river between Vega and Altair.
I knew that. It's just like a really long title. And, anyway, the common complaint I hear about this band, and especially that record, is, it's too overly dramatic. It's too whiny. I like it, but the vocals aren't very good. Notice my mocking tone of voice because I don't know. You can't judge something for being too dramatic. You can't.
Because that's what music should be.
Right. You can't listen to something and then just instantly set it aside because it sounds whiny or something. Take you back to high school when you made fun of the kids that wore girl pants or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
personally, I've loved everything Last Beat's come out with.
Exactly.
I loved Vega and Altair. Yes, it's very dramatic. It's emotional. It's all about a girl. Lots of darlings and lovers. But I mean, I've loved it. I thought it's really raw, really emotional, and really unique.
And while it's really it's produced, it's definitely pretty not overly produced by any means, but it's produced. You can tell they went to a nice studio. It still feels raw. It still feels DIY. It doesn't feel like they're writing for any other reason other than to make music, and that's definitely with DIY bands. They're definitely really up there for me, just because of that really strong feeling. Even though with all their success, they still
stay true to their roots.
Exactly.
Yeah. So let's get started with this album. With Wildlife. Like I stated with Vega and Altair, really emotional. A lot of it is about. The album is a love story about two star-crossed lovers. You get a lot of darlings, a lot of lovers in the lyrics. A lot of people didn't like that. Whether or not, I mean, I'm assuming Lotus Butte didn't give a fuck one way or the other.
Right.
But this album, there's love songs, but it's much changed. The subject material from front to back, much deeper. You cover drive-by shooting in King Park, cancer and I See Everything, schizophrenia, Edward Benz 27 times. The whole album in itself is kind of about losing friends and loved ones, people you know, people you've never met. And then there are certainly love songs still, like A Letter is the kind of love song where fans of Vega and Altair can find that similarity, kind of. It begins with a departure, which Ben made an interesting point about the beginning of it.
Yeah, a couple of the songs on Somewhere at the Bottom had like this like groovy. That's such a stupid word, but it had like a really grooving. How about that grooving tone?
Bringing the funk.
With the drums being really just like a certain beat.
It's almost dancey.
It's almost dancey.
Yeah.
And if you've ever seen them live, kind of the way he moves to the music.
The Jordan Dreyer shuffle.
The shuffle.
He does that running in place, jogging in place thing.
It starts off kind of softly, leading into that real, almost bluesy, funky kind of feel to it with the drums and guitar, and so it kind of starts off right away if you were a fan of the other album, especially like those kind of unique, like, you know, you have this modern post-hardcore screamo band that's not the lame mall screamo kind, the real, you know, the cool stuff. You have this band that has that sound, but can still throw in cool elements of blues and funk even.
Yeah, I guess the main song to really show this point we're trying to make from Vegan Altair is, in my opinion, the Castle Builders, where it starts with the dun 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 dun. That kind
Right,
of thing.
yeah. It's just really
It's
almost math rocky too,
Yeah,
if you like that kind of
these
stuff.
it's obvious that the guitarists for this band
Listen to a lot of stuff.
Chad and Kevin have a good understanding of music, music theory, different genres, how to work that in with their genre, and everybody in this band knows what they're doing. The big song that every time you hear someone talk about Wildlife, you always hear them say, "Oh, King Park." That's the song. Start
And
with that song.
Personally, it's what got me into this
Yeah.
album. I'll be real, I slept on this album too. Not because I heard it and didn't like it. I just
Kind of put on the back burner.
just put it on the back burner because I really like this band, and then they kind of got the hype of the Tumblr kids, and I was kind of
No offense, all you kids on Tumblr.
yeah, I
watching
was being a little lame, and I was like, oh, it's a hipster album, probably is what I thought. I was completely wrong. Don't pull a Ben Teeter. This album rules. But anyway, yeah, King Park is the song that everyone seems to really like, and sometimes the songs, like the singles or whatever that people really like, aren't always. It doesn't always pan out that way. That's actually the really good song. I'm going to go ahead and agree with the majority on this. This song is really good. It's really intense. It really builds up. It's a story. So any kind of lyrical story, when a lyricist can throw in a story in, you know, in a 3-minute time frame, and take you for this like ride, that always gets me. So that's what this song is about. It's about a shooting, I guess, that really happened.
Yeah, it happened.
It's a true story.
Yeah, in Michigan, near where these guys are actually from.
And from my understanding, they didn't actually witness anything.
No, it's yeah.
But when you listen to it, you
feel like
you feel like you're there, and which makes you think that one of the members witnessed the whole thing, was able to write down exactly what was happening in front of their eyes. So that going through your ears, it just paints this image.
By the time that the whole album the whole song is basically building up to this big climactic ending. It's about a 6-minute song, and when that moment hits, you'll know. And it's one of the more powerful moments I've heard in any song. So they did something right there.
They did a lot of right.
Yeah.
They did a lot of right on this album. But yeah, what I really liked about that last song is they kind of hinted at other
the last
lyrical
song,
themes.
The last song in the album being called "You and I in Unison," which in itself means everything is connected. That's how I take it. And there's a line from it near the end that says, "Every empty church and tortured son," which kind of ties back to the other songs in the album if you listen to those lyrics and understand the subjects in there. And Ben made the interesting point about when everything's being brought together at the end.
Right.
Yeah.
When everything's brought together at the end, it's kind of like, you know, when you're in school, they always tell you when you write an essay to refer back to your other paragraphs, your bodied paragraphs in your conclusion. And he like did that in song, and I don't think I've ever really heard that before.
Where it's
especially in that song doesn't necessarily tell. There's a couple songs on there that are stories you can tell are written in like a story form, but I think that this song is really just straight up
your concluding paragraph.
It's pretty cool. Maybe he's an English nerd and we didn't know.
Yeah, I mean, La Dispute, they understand their stuff, whether it's music, art, English, anything like that, and
Love.
it's very interesting to see that played out into music. But I mean, this album was in my top 10 for last year.
Yeah, same.
So,
And I caught on to it late.
And
So
it still made its way up.
it made my top 10 of 2011. And there wasn't a lot of albums in my top 10.
There were 10.
There were 10 albums. And then a couple I couldn't rank, but this made it in the actual top 10. 2011, in my opinion, wasn't that great. And this made it.
Definitely, if you like La Dispute, I'm sure you've already listened to this album. But if you, A, didn't like the last album, or B, haven't really listened to this band, have been sleeping on them, definitely give it a shot. La Dispute is best enjoyed front to back.
This is true.
But if you are gonna jump in with one song, it's got to be King Park. But I recommend going front to back.
If you are not a fan of the other stuff, this I feel definitely will turn you on to the band.
It's much more mature than what they've done in the past.
And also, if you are someone new to even DIY music, to modern screamo, post-hardcore, this can probably turn you onto the genre. They get tied in with bands like Defeater, like Touche Amore. Well, in my opinion, they do not sound like that. I guess it's the same idea. No, I don't even know if it's the same idea, but it's for fans of.
Yeah.
You get that kind of thing. I think honestly, the reason they get thrown together is because they're friends. They're all friends.
They all play together.
If you are new to this kind of music, I think it can turn you onto the genre. Do your research. If you like this band, do your research. There's a lot of cool bands that are like this. However, this band, I cannot name another band in music history that does sound like La Dispute.
Yeah,
so
and
keep that in mind.
Tough.
Maybe you won't like other stuff because this band is what they are. But out of 10,
I mean,
I'm gonna go to a strong 8.
Yeah, I would give it 8.5.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Go check it out.
And thanks for watching our first video. We'll have another one soon.
And they'll be less awkward.
Yeah, they will be less awkward.
More understood.
All right. A lot of less and awkward pauses.
Vocalized pauses.
Maybe this will end up on like the new age of Mystery Science Theater 3000. Like there's gonna be the little guys at the bottom
talking
judging
about how terrible we are.
Yeah, like.
Anyways, thanks for listening. We are the O'Daddy Factor.